What's up, guys? It's Sam, and I decided to make a preset pack, and I'm just gonna. It's a very small preset pack. It's got about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, like 10 presets. Just a little preset pack, but this is basically like a guide for the new editors. I'd say, just for the people that are new to editing and they need a little bit of a guide to go somewhere with their editing. So just kind of basic stuff. So a base for CCs and what you generally want to do with your color correction, and so you can mess around with it. Black bars. Shakes, impact, transitions, and stuff like that. So I'll be going over all of that stuff. Alright, so the first thing we're gonna go on is we're gonna go with the black bars. So black bar is pretty easy. Just Control Y, make a black solid. Slide that on here, and you're gonna see you have an effect here called CC Jaws. So you can mess around with it. If you want more black bars, just put it lower. I like to put around 84, around 84 and 86 for me. But you can always mess around. For Smash Montage, probably 90. It really depends, but yeah, you can do whatever you want with this. But always put it on a black solid. If you put it on an adjustment layer, it won't work. Next, we're gonna go on the base CC. So this CC is kind of just a base for a lot of things. I would recommend tweaking with it, but these are the general things that you can use for CC. It's just very basic. You could also use magic bull looks, but this is basically just brightness and contrast. Film effect, S_film effect, color balance, curves, just the general things. Also, something I need to mention before we go a little bit farther is that there's going to be plugins that you guys need for a lot of these presets. Sapphire plugins being one of them, Universe plugins being another one. I think it's just mostly that. Sapphire and Universe, I think. If there's another one, I'll mention it. So yeah, this is you can obviously mess around with this. I would recommend messing around with it, but that's generally what you want to do. Next thing, we got exposure blur. So this is a Universe plugin. So basically you guys see these keyframes. So it'll look like this, and then it'll go all the way down to less exposure blur. Obviously you can mess around with the keyframes. If you want to make it go faster, you go like this and it'll go much faster, but I like to do it like this. So a good example to use this is when you want a clip to start, just put the beginning keyframe, clip will start like this. Anyway, clip starts with a blur. Or another way to use it is on the impact. I'll just change it to half so my preview is quicker. You guys see that? It's pretty good. Next up, flicker on top. Oh yeah, so basically, this is like what I add a flicker on top of the CC layer on all of my videos. It just adds a little more depth. It just looks a lot better. Not really that noticeable, but just something I do for all my videos, and it looks really good. And yeah. So impact, glint, and flicker. So this is just an impact thing. So this is what you put on the last layer of, or the last, the final shot, the final hit or whatever. So just line it up with the final hit, which is this for here. You always want to add scale with this, so just a simple scale. So 150 to 100, and then easy use it. But you always want to do the last hit just goes boom. You could obviously mess around with the values. This is more so of a guide, but it basically just has flicker, shake, glint. If you want, you can add the exposure blur. You can add a bunch of stuff if you want, but I would recommend not going super overkill, because this is just a nice little boom. I use this a lot. Next up, invert stretch frames. This is a transition I use sometimes. So you want to line up the keyframe. You want to line up the middle keyframe, this keyframe. Basically, I would use this as a transition, so in between clips. But basically, it just kind of compresses and then inverts for a frame. It just like it's pretty nice. Just a nice little like glitchy kind of thing to add. Next up, we got orange glow. You can do whatever you want with this, but it's a nice just. I forget what this is. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, this is also a universe plugin, so make sure you got that. But this is what it looks like. You can. I would recommend making the X radius a little bit bigger. I don't know why I didn't make it bigger, but like this looks a lot better. And if you want, you could do like an opacity. You could do like 100 to 0 or something. And you could also add flicker on the adjustment line. So I'd go like, not a bad idea. Next up, RGB color. Okay, so this, I like to use this as, you use this as a transition. You just kind of opacity, make it like that, and then it's just like a quick color. Do it in between clips. It looks nice. I don't really have a good example right now, but if you were cut from a clip and if you were to do like this, if you were to do like this, and then have the transition here, the more movement there is because there's not a lot of movement here, so you can barely really see it. But when you have like two different clips and you transition it, it looks nice. So yeah, you guys can obviously mess around with that kind of stuff. Next, tilt shake. Here's your shake. It's a nice little simple shake. You just kind of boom, easy, simple. And then finally warp. You put the warp like this. You put the final keyframe before the hit, and it like does this. It's like a fisheye, and it goes really quick. But this paired with scale, impact, and everything is really good. It looks bad right now, but this paired with everything is good before a hit. And those are pretty much all the presets explained. I'm gonna go over a couple things, like make sure you have all the what's it called? All the plugins for this, or else it won't work. Most of these are used with plugins, so make sure you have all the plugins. I would recommend just having a lot of plugins. Next thing is try not to like abuse the presets by themselves. Try to like, make your own presets out of my presets. So like adjusting some settings and stuff. Next thing is that all of these presets were made in 24 frames a second. So if you're editing at like 30 frames a second or just a different FPS, the keyframes will like be in between keyframes. Like it'll be really weird. Like let's say I change the comp to 30. Here, look, I'll change the comp to 30 FPS, and then I'll put my warp. But then look, like this keyframe is like, this keyframe right here is like off. So you just gotta move it a little bit. So yeah, that's just something I wanted to go over. But yeah, and I'll also show you guys how to install the presets. It's pretty easy, but those are just general presets you guys should use to help out the Smash community, and I hope you guys enjoy these. So now I'll be showing you guys how to install the presets. So what you want to do is you want to go to Program Files, Adobe After Effects CC 2018, Support Files, and then here you'll see Presets. You just slide it in here, slide the folder in here, and then when you open up After Effects, it'll show up under Same Presets, or Same Preset Pack, something like that. Yeah, same preset pack, it's right there. I hope you guys use these presets good, and I'll see you guys later.